All right, today we are diving into the playbook of one of Thailand's absolute top sales experts, Coach Bank Supokit. We're going to distill 3 secrets that honestly do more than just help you sell. They're designed to completely change how you think about persuasion, turning you into that person everyone genuinely wants to buy from. And it all starts with this fantastic paradox. Just think about it for a second. We all hate that feeling of being pushed into a sale, right? But we get this real buzz from finding and buying something we actually want. This is the big puzzle every great salesperson has to figure out, and today we're going to crack it wide open. So here's the game plan. First, we'll unpack that sales paradox. Then we'll get into the 3 keys to solving it: how to create desire, how to tell a story that sticks, and how to become an ally. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into a modern sales mindset that actually works in the real world. Okay, so let's set the scene. You've been there, right? A salesperson comes on way too strong, they're pushy, and instantly your defenses just shoot up. Well, according to Coach Bank, that frustration comes from these old-school, outdated sales tactics that just don't fly anymore. This slide just nails the 2 biggest mistakes. On the left, you've got the average salesperson just pushing a product and stressing about the customer's budget, which, just creates tension. But the winning approach on the right, it's a complete flip of the script. You forget about pushing and you focus 100% on creating a genuine want. The value is everything, the price tag is just a detail. And that leads us straight to our very first key: creating desire. This is the bedrock of everything. Coach Bank's big argument is that if you can build up enough desire for the solution you're offering, the price almost becomes a non-issue. That feeling of really wanting something will always beat out the logical worry about the cost. So what even is desire-based selling? Well, it's about changing the whole conversation. Forget features, forget price. Instead, you focus on the feeling, the happiness, the solution, the success that your product is going to bring them. You're tapping into our emotional fast brain, which is where we make all our buying decisions, instead of our logical slow brain, which just comes up with reasons for it later. And this right here, this is the question Coach Bank says you need to burn into your brain. If a customer is hesitating, don't ask, is the price too high? You need to ask yourself, have I created enough desire? Because 9 times out of 10, the problem isn't the price. It's that they don't want it badly enough yet. All right, so let's move on to our second key. Today's customers are smart. They've already been online, they've done their research, they know the specs. They don't need you to read them a brochure. What they need, and what actually works, is a story that connects to their desires on a deep emotional level. Coach Bank has this brilliant example. He says, just imagine this is a totally normal pen, nothing special. You'd probably pay, $1 for it? Logically, it's not worth much at all. But then, things start to change. What if your friends, your coworkers, people you trust, what if they all started telling you these incredible stories about this exact same pen? Not about the quality of the ink, but about what happened to them after they got one. And suddenly you're hearing things like this. One person swears their sales went up tenfold. Someone else tells you their bad luck just completely vanished. A third person is convinced their business is thriving, and it's all because of this pen. Now, logically, it makes 0 sense. But you're starting to feel something, aren't you? You're starting to want it. And that's the raw power of a story. It creates the desire that just waltzes right past our rational brain. When enough people tell you a pen changed their life, you stop thinking about the pen and you start wanting what they have. Storytelling is maybe the single most powerful sales tool in the world. And that brings us to our third and final key, which is all about completely changing your relationship with the customer. You have to stop seeing sales as some kind of battle you need to win. You're not their opponent. You are their ally. And just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the old way, you versus the customer. It's a tug of war over their money, and it automatically makes them put up their guard. But on the right, the whole game changes. It's now you and the customer, together, fighting against their problem. That simple little shift gets rid of resistance and builds real trust. Because just think about it. The moment a customer feels like they're in a fight, their defenses go up. Coach Bank calls these fake walls. And here's the crazy part. The fancier your sales tactics are, the higher those walls get. Because the customer knows you're just trying to win. And these are the walls. We've all heard them, right? Let me think about it. I need to check with my partner. These usually aren't the real reasons. They're just defense mechanisms. They're just a polite way of saying, hey, I don't really trust you, and I need to get out of this fight. But when you're an ally, these walls don't even get built. So let's bring it all together. These 3 keys aren't just a random list of tricks. They actually combine to form a whole new philosophy for selling, one that's more human, way more effective, and honestly, a lot more fun for everybody. So to wrap it all up, the modern sales mindset is really a 3-step process. Number 1, make everything about creating a powerful desire. 2, use stories to connect with that desire on an emotional level. And 3, do all of it from the position of an ally who is genuinely helping to solve a problem. And CoachBank leaves us with this really powerful thought. In a world that's always changing, the skill of understanding what people need, building trust, and showing them value, well, that's a skill that will always be in demand. If you master selling in this human-first way, you've basically mastered a skill for life. And that really brings us to the final question you should ask yourself. The next time you talk to a customer, are you going to be pushing a product, or are you going to be an ally, telling a story that creates desire and helps someone solve a real problem? Because the answer to that question changes absolutely everything. Thanks for watching.